Hello, kindred spirits. Welcome back to Bits and Bob's Divination. My name is Caitlin, and today we are going to be dipping our toes to look into your personal creative powers and gifts. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Alright, so welcome back, my beautiful kindred spirits, and anyone new who may be joining us here today, as we are going to be playing around with a very different kind of reading for me, as we're going to be looking into those creative gifts and powers that you hold, whether they are creatively blocked, whether they are ones you even know you have and can access, or if they are ones that are beyond the traditional creative artist sort of vibe. So this is definitely open to anyone and everyone who is a human, because we are all creative and we all have different ways to express our creativity. So don't feel put off if you're not an artist or a traditional artist, as this is open to everyone. But we are going to be playing around with these here in a moment. But if you are interested in the other readings and creative things and musings that I get up to, then definitely feel free to check out the video I put out recently on my grimoire tour and flip through, all about how I express my creativity, divination, and my own personal magic and witchcraft, and kind of mesh them all together. So if you're interested in that, do feel free to check that out. You can also check out the ways you can support the channel through the Kindred tip jar, which everything that goes in there goes right back into the channel. You're also welcome to check out the snail mail readings that I do, where I send a letter to you in the mail, and it's about 3 to 4, usually 4 anymore, pages long, all about a situation in which you want to look into, or a question or query on your mind, and I send it to you in the mail. And you're also welcome to check out the Mabon spell and ritual papers that I hand make and create with recycled and eco-friendly materials for the earth, for your eco magic that you want to get up to around the fall season. So feel free to check all of that out down below. It's a great way to support yourself in the channel, so truly thank you to everyone who has been so supportive of those. And yeah, let's get into the piles. So as we are talking about creativity, I couldn't help but use crayons for each of the piles here today. So we have 3 crayon colors for each of them. So here is the first little bundle for group 1. So we have violet red, we have orange, and we have cerulean. So those are the 3 colors for pile number 1. Then here for pile number 2, the 3 colors you have to choose from are green yellow, you have carnation pink, and then also you have blue violet. So these are the 3 colors happening over here for group 2. And then last but not least here for pile number 3, you have the colors red violet, you also have yellow orange, and a bit of dandelion. So that is the little color combination for pile number 3. So as always, before you start heading off to the timestamps, I like to invite you to take a deep and cleansing breath here with me, so you can connect with your intuition, connect with your own creativity, and see which piles really call to you. So let's go ahead and take that deep breath together here now. And you're welcome to choose any one of the piles here. You can choose all 3 of the piles, you can flip-flop between them, you can change your mind as you go through. There really is no right or wrong way with this, and just follow your own intuition and see what comes forward. But all of the timestamps will be down below in the description alongside the chapter marks of this video, so you can play along and find your specific pile. But you're also welcome, like I said, to check out the different ways to support this channel, check out that grimoire tour, and you can also check out my Instagram to see more of my creative art magic on display. So feel free to check that all out down below, and let's go ahead and get started here with pile number 1. Hello group 1, if you've decided to choose these 3 colors of violet, red, orange, and cerulean, then this is the pile for you. I'll set your little crayons here so you can see them during your reading here today, as we are going to be exploring your creative gifts. And as I prefaced in the intro, these gifts don't have to be specific to being an artist or a creative in the very traditional sense. This can be creative problem solving, the way your intuition works, the way that you just interact with the world in a more creative sense, right? So through your imagination, through your inner child, through your specific creative perspective. So this is open to everyone. It is a reading that I haven't done before really on my channel in this way, so I'm going to be playing around with my own creative magic here today and just seeing how that all works out. So if it doesn't flow as easily or as intuitive as some of my other readings, then do forgive me for that, as I'm going to be playing around with this as well. So but go ahead and put your own intuition on, and let's just get right into it. So we're going to be doing this with the charms, of course, as well as several different oracle decks, and we're only going to use the Queer Tarot today. But the main deck that we're actually going to be playing around with here is the Art Magic Tarot, which is by Molly Roberts. I recently got it. It's an inspiration deck for creativity, and it has more of a magical witchy lens, but like I said, go ahead and put your own intuition cap on, and you can kind of see how this correlates to the way you interact with creativity. But we're going to look into your creative gifts here today from a spiritual perspective, from an artistic perspective, but also more generally. So let's just get right into it. So feel free to send your energy in. You're the first group, so you guys are kind of my guinea pigs here. So let's see. Group 1, what do you got going on when it comes to your creative gifts, how your creativity can be explored, and the ways that it likes to kind of show itself off or to interact with the world? So we have here one of the very first ones, which I'm going to show you guys the backs of the cards first, and then we'll reveal them all together. But here is your first one with sort of a wing of a butterfly. This almost looks like a bike wheel or some sort of harp. These also correlate to different elements. Ooh, okay, we're going to take that one as well. So this one is trust the process, but you also have sort of a sun here with some swirling clouds, very much the air element or water element maybe. And then we're going to pull one more here to get some more information. Okay, so we've got like quite a few that are showcasing sort of an airy, intuitive feeling, and then we even have the sun showing up here again. But in this case, we have the sun sort of looking like they're sort of asleep, and then we have sort of more of this airy, moon, dreamy, imaginative energy, almost like dreams, or maybe your creativity comes through your dreams. So we're going to see how that shows up with all of the ones that you get here. So the first one that we have here is Focus Pocus, and I'll read these here in a moment. But we have Focus Pocus with this little dragon. Then we have Trust the Process, and this one is in the water element, this one in air. And then lastly here we have the Desire one here with a phoenix, and it's with the spirit element, or the element of spirit. So you have quite a little collection here going on with a lot of purples, blues, very spiritual, very intuitive, creative intuition. It's making me think that you are a kind of person that uses your creativity a lot through like street smarts or like really guttural, intuitive feelings. You work a lot more intuitively with your creativity versus someone who maybe like has like a billion Pinterest boards, researches every single little thing about every single little color that they would use or every single, detail. And I feel like yours is less detail oriented, and your creativity comes across much more intuitively, much more instinctually. And I think that a lot of people find that a very valuable thing when it comes to the way that your creativity comes across, because you can maybe pick something up a lot easier, or you at least make it seem easy, even though, like, as we have trust the process and focus, it does mean that you have to have the desire and the want to go forward with the hobbies or creativity that you're kind of leaning into. But the point is that you tend to like just instinctually flow into it a lot easier than most. So I think that that's a really beautiful thing that's coming through. We also have a dragon and a phoenix. So we have some fiery energy coming up from the bottom of this, which is almost giving me more of like a storytelling element to your creativity as well. So not only do you have like the creative gift of instinctual creativity and like certain sort of like a creative common sense, but I also think that you are quite a creative problem solver in the way that you use your imagination to grow your perspective. I think that some people can lack in their imagination, and so it's really hard to see different routes and different perspectives and different ways to go about something. And I think that you're much better at being able to mingle ideas from history, from time, from your own lived experience to create something else, to have sort of a creative alchemy that's happening here. But let's go ahead and read on each of these cards. So in case some of you are more spiritually oriented or you're interested in art magic, especially if you checked out like my grimoire tour, you might be more interested in what these have to say. But you can just pick out specific keywords that kind of call to you as well, especially since you have that instinct coming in. So this one says, and I'll hold this up here in case you want to read it yourself, but it says here, focus, pocus, a noisy world competes for our attention and pulls us in many directions. Invoke the power of focus, pocus to gather what is scattered, reclaim precious time, and access powerful insights. The benevolent laser beam of focus concentration energizes circumstances and swiftly brings dreams to fruition. So dreams is showing up here again. I feel like you guys also, in that like instinctual feeling, maybe you guys just also are very creative dreamers. I personally am one of those kinds of people where I just have dreams that are so interesting and go through so many weird rabbit holes and Alice in Wonderland feelings that like I'm so interested and invested. I just want to like stay asleep to see what happens next. I don't know if any of you guys have that, but maybe your creativity also can kind of like pull you in that way where you can just really like pull yourself into your creativity, and you have such a focus that you'll get in such a flow state that you get kind of lost in it. We also have trust the process, and it says here, I'll go ahead and put it up here first, but it says, in the beginning, all may present as disparate chaos or an underwhelming wreck, but nothing is ever quite as it seems. When doubt creeps in, cast a counterspell by trusting the process. A sense of affectionate adventure will buoy you. Lean into the journey, embrace weirdness, and revel in your odyssey of becoming. Ooh, I like that one as well, in that you have maybe a very unique perspective that comes through as well that other people just maybe don't see or don't think in the process that you do. Like, you have a very creative and distinct style. And then we also have desire showing up here. What plucks the sounds and strings of your secret self? What gives your heart a genuinely succulent thrill? Hint: authentic desires are free of shoulds. Desires are seeds of creation. Conjure art to clarify or embody your most dynamic and fulfilling desires. Give interests and longings permission to bloom and perfume ambitions. So I like that too, the idea of like shoulds, in that if we have a true desire to go after something, to learn the guitar or to start that new hobby or to imagine a new script or to, really get into that flow state like I was talking about, it shouldn't and doesn't normally come from a should, like I should be doing this or I should be pursuing that. It's because you can and you want to and you have a desire to do so. So there also is that showing up here. So with this idea, right, we're talking about these creative gifts that you have access to, but how are they currently manifesting in your life? Are there creative blocks? Maybe they haven't really been ones you've kind of experienced or really allowed yourself to like lean into. We're going to see how they're currently manifesting for you and how it could start to build in the future. So let's start out with some tarot cards here. As always, do send in your energy. Okay, so we're going to take the 3 and the star here. So first off, like I said, we are going to look into first how this is currently manifesting into your life. So we have the 3 of Swords, and the 3 of Swords usually showcases confusion, especially with the heart, with the heart being like what is our desires and that beating heart to showcase what we're heading towards. And where creativity is really leading us towards that flow state, I feel like a lot of the time it gets very confusing and muddled up. So where I said you have very much a flow state, you have a creative instinct, I feel like a lot of the time your instinct gets a little bit muddled up because you haven't necessarily either your desire and your instincts aren't meshing. Like you have an instinct to go after, like say it's guitar, right? My guitar's in front of me, so that's the thing that I'm thinking about. But say you want to learn guitar, right? Or whatever it might be. This desire that you have to learn guitar isn't, or this like instinct to learn guitar isn't like connecting in your life. Like you aren't finding ways to make sure that happens, or that desire can sort of settle into your life somehow, like either making room by planning guitar lessons, or maybe you don't have the money, or some sort of resources kind of confusing and muddling up this experience for you right now. And so I feel like right now you might have some creative blocks that are definitely feeling external, like the desire is there, but there's thoughts that keep getting in the way, or external circumstances such as money, finances, resources that are holding you back from being able to currently pursue some of these creative ideas. And so there might be some creative problem solving that is needed here, but because we have the star coming after that, it gives me sort of more of a restorative feeling towards this, in that this Three of Swords may not only just be an external circumstance, but you might have also had an experience, probably because of someone saying something to you that made you seem like your perspective, your creative perspective, your creative gifts weren't worthy of your time, right? Don't learn guitar. It's not worth your time. Or why would you do that? That's such a waste of money. Or something got into your head. And I feel like you're kind of restoring that, or you're sort of putting the refresh button on that and letting it kind of wash clean from your mind so you can actually move forward. So the creative blocks are coming from not only external circumstances, but also external pressures and points of views and expectations on your creativity. And the star is very much a place of restoration, a place of rejuvenation, and a place of hope too. So I do think that you're currently in a very good position to work through and break through a lot of creative blocks by first finding the root of why your creativity is being blocked, like, right, going to the root of the foundation of these blocks so that you can kind of wash them clean and really inspect them so that you can begin to hope and dream and follow your desires a lot more freely. So we have that showing up here, but let's go ahead and pull two more to kind of get a blurring effect of both your creative desire or your creative gifts here, and then we're also going to look into any more time-based things. So let's see, group one. What else do we have coming in for your creativity? So we have the Four of Ink, the pen, manifestation, communication, and clarity. And then we also have here so we have two fours. Fours definitely represent, four is the number of foundations. So like I said, it felt like there was a foundation of something that needs to crumble. It's not working for you anymore. Someone built this foundation, this expectation on you, and it's kind of like pushing your creativity down and making it much more forced than a flow. So part of it is coming from, again, communication. So we were talking about how I felt like there's somebody's mind, somebody's words really got into your head, especially if maybe even certain words that are showing up in these vials are a part of that. But words are powerful, right? Words really do sometimes sting and hurt and kind of stick with us. So sometimes we have to take those words and find power, or sort of rewrite the narrative that has been kind of written into our mind so that we can move through these blocks. We have that showing up here, and that the pen can be a beautiful experience for that. Maybe that is literally writing to them, communicating with this person, or just journaling through the experience so that you can kind of work through it, especially if you do it from a sort of a objective point of view. And then we have here the Four of thread loom, boundaries, community, and responsibility. So creating boundaries as well is going to be really important in that healing process too. And showcasing like, hey, I want to start playing guitar again. Guitar is just a variable or an example. But if guitar comes up, then, you know, we gotta stomp down on the people who keep trying to put their 2 cents in. And that doesn't mean to create more conflict, but rather just like lay down a boundary, tell them this is not really, you know, about you, and I'm, or just like letting, you know, their words come right off the back of the duck's back. But just reminding yourself that you have boundaries and you can have creative boundaries too. And that some people really like to stomp down, and a lot of the time society likes to stomp down our creativity and to stomp down our imagination especially. So I see that you are maybe stomping back. And I think that that's a really brave thing, courageous thing, and a very impactful thing for you. And I think it will be really impactful long term for you when moving through your creative process. I think that it's going to be really important. So let's go ahead and pull you some charms to finish off your reading to get any other little details. But if you did enjoy this reading, especially since it was kind of new for me, I would really appreciate any likes or any comments or feedback down below. But let's go ahead and pull some charms. Okay, I had one caught in my bracelet here. Okay, so I'm going to zoom you in so you can see a little bit closer here. And you're welcome to see how these different charms really correlate to you specifically. But when it comes to the history that you've had in the past with these people getting into your head, these conversations, these words that have probably really hurt you, we have the insecurity charm. So they definitely have created some insecurity there. And then we also have the 2014 penny. Also, whenever I see the pennies too, it makes me think of like penny for your thoughts, or something that doesn't actually hold truly. It may have held a lot of value once, but now does not hold as much value on you because it is now a penny, which is only 1 cent, right? But it feels like it could still needle at you, but you're trying to put the worth of their words and lower the value of it in your mind. We have the cogs sort of moving on this little bamboo here. So bamboo meaning something that grows very fast and very quickly, and is also a border in this case. So it also is getting the gears moving on that. And then we have a charm here of the bear, showcasing the little, always makes me think of like receiving gifts or something like that. So there might also be like this feeling of all of a sudden, once you get past this block, then all of a sudden you're buying all of the supplies or all of the things that really can get your creativity, your imagination, and get yourself to that flow state. So I can feel you maybe going on like a little shopping spree for this, and getting very excited. And then we have next to trust the process, and all of throughout here with Focus Pocus, trust the process, and the 3 of Swords here. We have a spirit guide showing up here, so you might have a creative flame spirit guide showing up for you. We have the show your stripes charm. We have the unique perspective charm being over time more valued. Whenever I see the Eiffel Tower, it makes me think of like the history of the Eiffel Tower, and that when it was first put up, most people did not like it. They actually wanted it taken down. They thought it was quite, not cute. They didn't want it there. And now it is, something that people go to Paris specifically for, right? So this is a change in perspective. And so someone might also change their mind about your creativity that once in the past held a lot of significance in one way, but they might be changing their mind as you show your stripes and show more of yourself. And then we have the poodle charm here, as well as the unknown charm. The poodle makes me think too of like someone making you have to kind of shed your natural instincts to fit a mold. And the unknown charm is making me think too of trusting that process of like between these 2 cards as you learn to understand your creativity better. But yeah, that's really what I'm getting here. Not too much more. but definitely a creative guide coming through. So you might find that a spirit guide is helping you along this process. So that's everything that I see here for you, group 1. Like I said, I would love any feedback down below. I know this is less of a flow kind of reading here today, but I tried to keep it pretty structured. I hope that it helped. I know not all of you are interested in creativity and that kind of stuff, but if you are, do feel free to check out the reading that I put out, or the video rather, that I put out on my grimoire tour recently. So if that's something you're interested in, if you're interested in how art, magic, and divination sort of combine, I think you'd really like to see that. And then you can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and give this video a like. I will be putting out my regularly scheduled programming videos after this, but I do appreciate you guys letting me try out some new things on here. With all of that said, though, all of the different ways you can support this space will be down below in the Kindred tip jar, through the Mabon spell and ritual papers that I hand make and create for you all for your spirituality, and you can also check out the snail mail readings that I do, where I send a reading to you in the mail. So with that all said, I'm going to go ahead and leave you here, but thank you so much for joining me here today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye! Hello group 2, if you've decided to choose these 3 colors of green, yellow, carnation, pink, and blue, violet, then this is the pile for you. I do hope that you guys enjoy this reading. It's going to be a little bit different. I already kind of did the guinea pig reading over with pile number 1, but like I said, this is very different for me. It's a different kind of reading. It's more specific and yet also kind of more general. So do keep your mind open for this one. Open up your, and put on your own intuition cap here, and I hope you play along with me here as we look into your creative gifts. So we're going to look into 3 different creative gifts that you have coming in, but this doesn't necessarily mean artistic gifts, although if you are an artist or more traditional in the artist sort of realm, then that you can see it from that perspective. But you could also look at this in your creative hobbies, you can look at it from your creative perspective, or you can see it just more generally. So play around with it however you wish. But what kind of got this all rolling is not only me putting up my art magic with my grimoire tour, which you can see here if you're interested in that, but also with the art magic deck by Molly Roberts, an inspiration deck for creativity. So we're going to be playing around with that. This does have a bit more of a magical, witchy perspective, but like I said, if that's not really your jam, you're welcome to just take keywords and incorporate your own intuition. But we're just going to play it by ear today and see what happens. Like I said, we're playing around. So this is very new to me as well. But let's go ahead and get started first, which I'll have all of this listed down below for the decks and supplies here. But we're going to start first with your art magic cards. So let's get started there. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space. And let's see, group 2. What are your creative gifts? Which ones are coming forward? Okay, so we've got first off this little moth, which we're going to read the other reverse side of this, but we've got sort of these splatters, this moth shape coming forward first, which reminds me of group 1 because they sort of got a bit of a moth as well. But I want to see in combination what else you might have coming through. So group, there we go, group 2. We've also got a bit of a butterfly. We have sort of a start of a pentacle or some wands, like a 3 of wands energy. And then lastly here, with a very loud and proud card, we have this one, which kind of reminds me of a cloud of smoke of some sort. So let's go ahead and turn them to the other side and see what they reveal. So our first one here is embrace impermanence. So that's part of your creative gifts, is embracing impermanence. And here is both the reading on that in here, which we'll read here in a moment. And then we also have create new opportunities. And then this is the illustration to come with it. These also are correlated to different elements. So this one is the element of air, and then we also have the element of water showing up here. And then lastly here in the element of earth, we have celebrate seasons. So immediately just looking at the celebrate seasons card, especially with the lion here, one of you, I know this is going to be very specific to a viewer that's been probably here for quite a long time, but one of you is very much in the Leo season energy, even beyond Leo season. I talked about this in the Virgo season and September messages, the last video that I did, but there's something about that lion energy that's coming through, this courage and this courageous confidence that keeps coming up for one of you or multiple of you, and I just think I needed to point that out here. But with the celebrate seasons as well, it's making me think that some of you might be very creative in the idea that maybe you like party planning, or your creative gift lies in holidays like Halloween, where you get to create costumes, or maybe you guys are very interested in, even if it's not for a costume, or if it's more so your creativity and the way that you express your creativity comes a lot through your fashion, the way that you express yourself through either your fashion or through the way you set up your home and the layout of your home and your space and your rooms. So I'm seeing especially with celebrate seasons, that one just really highlighted over here, but I want to go through each of them. So I'm going to read what the art magic part of this is. This is going to have a bit of a spiritual, magical, witchy perspective, but like I said, there might be keywords that you might want to play around with here and see how your creativity comes forward. But we have embrace permanence here first, so you can read it here if you want to read that by yourself. But it says here, embrace impermanence. Experience the cleansing rush of impermanence. Practice letting go with ephemeral art spells such as chalk drawings to be washed away by the rain, water paintings to be dried up by the sun, and sending scribbles to be dissolved by lapping waves. Dance with impermanence and offer yourself the gift of spaciousness. It is safe to let go. Okay, so this is also giving me this feeling that some of you might be the kind of people who really enjoy changing up your space quite often, or changing up your style quite often. I don't think you're someone who sticks to a style and never changes at all. Although, like I said, keep your mind open here, but I do feel like that might be for some of you very much how this is coming through, especially with that Leo energy. It's making me think of the way that you literally physically embrace or express your style through your home, through your physical objects, through the aesthetics that you play around with. I feel like you, with that embrace impermanence, makes me think that your creativity comes through the way that you express yourself. That even could be your desktop wallpaper, it's constantly changing in and out, whatever that might be. That sense of expression is a huge part of and quite intrinsic to the way that you explore and express yourself through creativity. But we also have this create new opportunities, which I haven't talked about much, so I want to see what it says here as well. So create new opportunities. We like this little bunting showing up here, and more of that wind and flowing energy. It says here, throw open the windows of your heart so fresh breezes can blow the cobwebs away. Call in a gust of wind to stir up new circumstances. Clear your mind and carry goodwill all over town. Create an art spell on the wind to spread fresh blessings on your neighborhood, local creatures, the planet, and the people you may never meet. Ooh. So this, alongside that create impermanence, we have a lot of things talking about things being carried by the breeze, carried by the wind. So I also think you are quite and this happened to come up in pile number 1, but you're a very intuitive, creative person. So what I mean by that is you, if you're relaying out your house, or you're playing around with your fashion or changing up your desktop wallpaper, whatever it might be, when it comes to expressing that, I don't think you're necessarily following trends, but rather following what your creative style needs next. It very much is intrinsic to your spirit, is intrinsic to your soul, is very intrinsic to how like the experience that you're wanting to create in your home through your style, the impression that you put about. It's less about society or trends or how you look to other people, and more how you are communicating and storytelling in your space, in your fashion, in, all of those things. So I like that showed up here too, and that it's more about expressing yourself rather than expressing for someone else. And then we also have celebrate seasons here. So again, I'll hold this up for you. But it says, drink in the wonders of the season. What colors, sounds, flavors, and textures is the natural world presenting to you at this time? What story does the season whisper to you? Absorb inspiration from seasonal joys and delicacies specific to where you dwell to breathe life into your creative practice. So again, I think things are changing up quite quickly, quite with the seasons, or quite often. And because of the celebrate seasons and this being in that earthly realm, I just keep thinking of things that are very much rooted like in your physical presence, in your physical tangible experience. So I think you guys really enjoy a good aesthetic. I think you guys really enjoy the textures and really making everything match in the way that you see it in your mind. So I think that you're really good at putting something together in that way too. Like if you see something in your mind, you're really good at presenting itself and creating it into reality as well, where others might get a little bit more stuck with that. So keeping this all in mind, right? I don't want to talk just on these the whole time. I want to talk about how these creative gifts that you have, how you're experiencing them at this moment. Are they blocked? Are you feeling a little bit like stuck in them? Is it maybe something that you hadn't realized you even had, as a gift, and now you're wanting to explore it more? We're going to see how that shows up here, and then we're going to see more of a future card and where that's going. So how are you currently experiencing your art and creativity and creative flow and expression and intuition? How is that creatively showing up in your life right now? So first off, we have the Lovers. So it seems definitely not blocked right now. I feel like you guys are in a very much like a renaissance or a golden period of your creativity. I think it's really sparking. You've got a lot of love and a lot of attention being put to it. Maybe you put a lot more of your time and your energy into your creativity. Or this can also mean if you are in a block, I think you're looking for a lot of other people who can inspire you or are really getting your gears moving when it comes to your creative practice, to how you want to express yourself. So maybe you've been in a rut, but I feel like you're currently finding resources and sort of people who can guide you, oh my gosh, my light just fell. It totally freaked me out. Oh, gave me a little bit of a scare, but that's fine. What I was saying though is that I feel like there might be someone who is really guiding you right now, and is a creative resource to you, whether that's online, whether that's through someone in your life, some sort of muse. But let's see how that's manifesting as we move forward. So we also have the Hermit. So I feel like you go through ebbs and flows with your creativity, and I think that is something that doesn't get normalized enough. I think there's a lot of times and a lot of creative people out there who go through ebbs and flows with their creativity. I definitely am one of them, right? Sometimes I'm like on the top of the world, and sometimes don't have any idea what I'm doing. So right now, like I said, with Renaissance and that sort of like golden age feeling, there's always going to be a bit of a dip. So I think you might go through a period of a dip, but it doesn't feel like with the Hermit, it doesn't feel like you're about to go through a creative like rut or block, but more so just like taking your time, sorting through the inspiration that you've gathered, sorting through sort of how you're feeling and what is inspiring you, so that you can then bring it to life in the next season. You might even find, as my creativity is very similar to this, but you might even find that the seasons are intrinsic to how your creativity comes forward. So I am the least creative in the winter, the most creative in the fall, and somewhere in the spring and summer just sort of kind of chilling. So you might find you have certain natural cycles that you flow through as well, and maybe that's something you might be aware of, or maybe if you aren't aware of it, it might be something you want to become more aware of so that you can better interact with those or combat those if needed. So with that in mind, I want to pull 2 more cards, and then we are going to finish off with the charms. But like I said, if you guys are enjoying this reading, especially since it's a very new, very different kind of reading for me on this channel, I would appreciate any support by liking the video and letting me know in the comments down below how it's resonating for you. I would love to hear your guys' feedback, especially on new videos like this, and new readings. But let's just play around a little bit further and pull 2 more cards here to get some more information. So group 2. Okay, so we've got this one, and then I had another one, but I feel like I lost it, so I'm going to go ahead and see if we can find another one here. And do feel free to send your energy in through time and space here. Okay, so we have the waters, and then we also have here the book. Okay, so the book is saying here identity, consciousness, and manifest. So if you guys are interested in art magic, like I said, I did a grimoire tour. So if you guys are interested in like literally creating your own book of shadows or creating your own personal resource for you to fall in love with, then that might be something to look into. Otherwise, journaling or using even storytelling, maybe you guys are interested in writing, that could be something that also gives you another place to express yourself that maybe is less outward and is more in, pages of books. You could even do this outside of a book, like a document on Google Docs or something like that. And this is also making me think too, like you might be researching or finding a new resource, falling in love with a new style or particular creative skill that you want to really play around with. So you might also need to research or look at books and use books as a way of researching that and gaining those skills. And then as we move towards the Hermit, where we said you might be going through these seasons of your creativity, we have the waters, which definitely makes sense, right? The ebbs and the flows. So we have relief, rejuvenation, and rest. So this is definitely giving me more of that feeling of like the ebbs and flows. You're going to have your high points and your low points. You're going to have all sorts of wavelengths in between. And I think it's about embracing that and embracing, the impermanence and the seasons of your own creativity, and that is intrinsic to how your creativity works. Some people work full on all the time, pedal to the metal, and that works for them. Other people, it just doesn't. And I think that's really important to know about yourself as well, and as showing up here as a important factor in how your creativity sort of manifests and works here. So with that said, we're going to pull your final messages here with the charms. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space here. And let's pull some charms for you, group 2. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom you in so you can see here. The first one that I want to talk about is the 2011 that showed up here. Normally it is the anchor charm, but what showed up here on one about seasons and time, we have 2011. So this is making me think that you might be kind of still stuck in a rut from maybe something that happened in 2011. Maybe there's a cycle of something that you were creatively working on in 2011, or even just in a previous year. It's about kind of looking back through old journals or creativity that kind of got put to rest but hasn't been able to be resurfaced or go through its own personal renaissance. And so I have that kind of showing up here. Again, though, we also have the anchor too, so it can also be that your current season that you're in right now may have you either feeling anchored, or you're pulling up the anchor to create more flow. So you're going to have to kind of play around with that one to see where you are currently at in your creative cycles. Interestingly, we have the poodle showing up. This also, and the gear charm. Both of these charms came up in the last reading as well. So maybe multiple people came to different readings. But this showed up over by throw, or throw open. And so this is like a gear in a clock, or like a gear to get something moving, putting something into gear. So there might be a new opportunity that's currently surfacing for you as well, that you're about to be able to put into gear and kind of take shape on, is what I'm seeing more so with the poodle this time, is like something that's taking shape. So there might be an opportunity on the wind on its way in for you. We also have with Embrace Impermanence, and alongside the book as well, we have the travel charm. So you might even be interested in learning maybe the skill that you're learning. If you're more interested in, like, this might be specific to only a few of you, but if you're more interested in like traveling or traveling with your art, or your, especially for like traditional artists, like plein air painting might be something to look into, or like painting and creating on the go and creating like a to-go bag for that. Because you had a lot to do with fashion as well, maybe that's curating a specific like bag of makeup, or a specific bag of or a specific collection of things that are towards a certain season, or towards a specific skill or creative outlet for you right now that you're very excited about, and that it, with the Embrace Impermanence, it's going to continue changing and evolving as you do. And then lastly here on the Hermit, you have the number 4 showing up here on the lantern with the temporary charm of the paperclip as a temporary like foundation. So it also feels like that this Hermit isn't going to last forever. Like I said, it's going to go through its seasons. It's not going to be something that's going to be like 4s can sometimes represent structures that like never change, and traditions that never change. And the fact that we have it with like a more impermanent charm just showcases that you're going to be going through ebbs and flows there, and that this is showing up here as well with the crush charm. So there's going to be something that you're going to fall into that lover's feeling again and crush on creatively once again. So when you get into this rut of the Hermit, possibly just know that it's less of a rut and more of the bottom of a waterfall before the next big swoop that kind of comes in creatively for you. So those are all of the charms and cards that I have here for you today. Like I said, I would love to hear your guys' feedback down below, because I know that this is a bit of a different kind of reading, more specific to those who are more in tune with their creativity. So I would love to hear your guys' thoughts through either liking this video or letting me know down below. And you can also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, as I put out new readings every single Monday. I typically do pick a card readings for 2 week ahead readings and monthly readings, but I also am having fun sprinkling in some art magic and some other more art magic and creative videos. So if you're interested in those, do be sure to subscribe. And I also want to let you know that there are ways to support this channel as well through checking out the Kindred tip jar. Everything that goes into the tip jar goes right back into the channel for new decks such as this art magic deck, and also is used for other supplies such as like memory cards and those sorts of things. You're also welcome to support yourself and the channel through the other offerings such as Mabon Spell and Ritual Papers, which are great for creative magic. And you can also check out the snail mail readings that I do, where I send a letter to you in the mail for you to treasure and enjoy the different reading that you would receive. So do feel free to check all of that out down below. And I am hoping that you guys did enjoy this, and I am wishing you the best for your creative magic. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye. Hello group 3, if you've decided to choose 3 different crayons here of Dandelion, Yellow, Orange, and Red, Violet, then this is the pile for you. I'm going to go ahead and set your crayons here so we can look into your creative gifts today and how they might be manifesting into your life both now and in the future, and anything else in between, using the charms as well as several different oracle decks and the tarot deck of the Queer Tarot here today, all of which I'll have listed down below. But like I said in the intro, and like I've said in the other 2 piles, this is a very new kind of reading for me. It's not something I do very often. So if you are thinking that this is going to be super literal only for creatives and artists and traditional artists, do know that this is open to everyone. We're all creative as humans, so we're going to see how your creativity comes through and how it's manifesting both generally for artists, for magical creators, for witches, and anything else in between. So just keep your mind open for this one as we play through, because it is quite new for me as well. So I'm going to be just playing around here with you. So we're going to keep it kind of low key, but the deck that kind of sparked the inspiration for this is the new deck that I got from Molly Roberts. It's an inspiration deck for creativity called Art Magic. So these cards are going to have a bit more of an art magic and witchy spin. So if that's not really your jam, do feel free to kind of seek out the specific keywords that really count out or point out for you, or kind of spark your creativity and feel more intuitive to you. That was the word I was looking for. And we're gonna start first with those. So do feel free to get yourself cozy, and let's see your creative gifts here today. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space, and let's see your creative gifts. Group 3. Okay, so we're gonna take that one. And I'm going to leave them upside down at first because they'd all have different patterns here that might give you some information. This is making me think at the top of like a mermaid's tail. So I am getting like this whale or mermaid dolphin kind of feeling. Very watery for sure. Then we also have here a couple different cards trying to pop out, but I'm going to take this top one here. That we had. So we have our 3 cards already. Yee! So exciting. So like I said, we're going to explore the bottoms first, or the opposite side. So one of your cards also has this sort of moth, butterfly, bug energy. And then we also have this one, which is quite mysterious. It just sort of splotches and it really just splotches and some glitter and some orange. Which a lot of your colors have that orange color. So I'm very interested to see how these all correlate. So let's go ahead and have a little look. So the first card that we have here is the Incubate Dreams card, which I'll set this up here, but we're going to read through it here in a moment. Showcasing sort of a little dragon looking over their egg. And then we also have here the Awaken the Art Witch card, showcasing a little bit more here. With sort of a heart expansion of energy and sort of like electricity to find the treasure within your art witchery. And then we have cathartic art. Love that. That totally makes sense with the backside and those splatters. So we have cathartic art with this little creature here and their creative flame sort of really sparking something and being sparked by a lot of feelings and emotion. So I think you're someone who has a lot of emotion that really puts your emotion into your art, into your creativity, whatever that form may be. So whether you see yourself as a creative or not, you have an intrinsic gift within you that is very much that your creativity is very much tied to how you are feeling and your emotions, and are very much bound and blur with one another. We talk about a lot with the traditional artists who are very much like the tormented artist, or the artist who takes their pain and turns it into cathartic art to be able to create something out of pain or out of an emotion. And this can be beautiful emotions too, right? Some artists really create out of, the things that really light them up and get them going. So whatever it is, whatever emotion it is, I feel like you really use those emotions to drive your creative problem solving, your creative hobbies, your creative projects, and where they take you. What I find interesting, though, is we have both the Awaken the Art Witch card and the Incubate Dreams card, both which talk about beginnings and fertile beginnings and just starting something. So I really feel like you maybe are someone who doesn't really consider themselves an artist, or you are just beginning a new journey as an artist. There's something that is just beginning, or you're just dipping your toes in. And I think that call towards being an art witch or call towards being a creative person is starting to make its way in. And, we talk about artists like you have to learn art at the very, very beginning of your life to be an artist. Lots of people don't learn to draw or to pick up a pencil or even get into any kind of creative hobby, whether that be through music, storytelling, writing, drawing, painting, dancing, whatever it might be. You can start at 40, 50, 60, 80, there is no time limit on that. And I think that's what's really coming through with the cards too, is that you might feel like you're too late, but you're not too late to the game. You definitely are not too late to the game. There is no time limit when it comes to creativity, and there are no rules. So I kind of want to go ahead and start this way across. So let's go ahead and read through each of them. You also had different elements here. So we have the element of fire, the element of air, and the element of water. All three of your guys' piles have had very mixed elements, which I think is really good. I'm going to go ahead and hold this up, but I'm going to read it as well. So it says, incubate dreams. Nurture and guard your fledgling dreams with fierce love. Nourish your hopes and visions by keeping them close to your heart until they are ready to hatch in their full splendor. Pay attention to your nighttime dreams as they are littered with jewels of guidance for speedily bringing in your waking dreams to life. Ooh. So this can talk about also like your creativity coming through your imagination as well, and using your imagination to drive your creativity alongside your emotions. So there also could be a lot of dreams that you have, whether you've had literal physical dreams at night or dreams as a kid to do some sort of creative hobby or creative whatever it might be, right? Like I said, use this to whatever it applies to in your life, but there's something that you're incubating, something that you've been incubating for a very, very long time and has been growing for a very, very long time within you, and is just now starting to hit those hatching points, and is starting to break through and starting to kind of come forward and bubble up. And so I really like seeing that show up here too, and like moving something from your imagination into the physical waking life. But with that, we have Awaken the Art Witch. So again, something awakening, moving something from dreams and from fantasy into reality, and that those two things can bridge. I see that is something that you could be really good at when it comes to your creativity, but haven't necessarily explored. And something you might be exploring is art witchery. So it could be very specific to art witchery, but I'm also getting this feeling that some of you might literally be wanting to play around with traditional forms of art, or through your hobbies, such as music and dancing and other forms of creativity, and wanting to actually explore that a little bit more. So I could see some of you maybe dipping your toes into that with this Awaken the Art Witch showing up here. But let's go ahead and read through it. So it says here, Awaken the Art Witch. Step into your precious power and claim your creative magic with deliberate urgency. Liberate yourself from unhelpful stories and fear of your abilities right now, and devise a ritual to acknowledge and grow your power. Perform this ritual often to ignite your scintillating truth and create your own destiny. Ooh, love that. I really feel like you guys are really starting to really embrace your creativity and embrace that you are more creative than you give yourself credit for. And then I think you have a specific perspective that is wanting to emerge, and a specific creative lens that's wanting to emerge into your life, that maybe has been held back for a while, especially with the idea that it was talking about like liberating yourself from unhelpful stories and fears of your abilities. I really feel like like I said, you may be feeling that it's too late, or you may be feeling that someone in your life has told you that, creativity or art is, a waste of your time, or it's unrealistic, especially with that feeling of like moving your dreams and your imagination into a waking reality, that it's just fantasy, it's just play, it's not real. But I think you're moving it into your reality in some form, and I think that's really exciting, whether that's through art witchery for like actual manifestation and things like that, or if it's through more so, like I said, singing, dancing, drawing, painting, or even just creative problem solving. I just think that like some of you are wanting to embrace that. So then we also have cathartic art. I know I've been talking about these for ages, but let's go ahead and talk about this one as well, and then we'll pull some more cards. But it says here, cathartic art. Create antidotes to poisons with cathartic art. Express yourself. Release what needs to be cleansed, and don't hold back. All emotions are permitted. Create an art magic spell designed to be ritually destroyed. Pour your pain into a piece and safely burn, bury, or whirl it into bits in the blender. Process hurts, and it also expands your healing. So, like I said at the beginning, a lot of it has to do with how your creative magic and your creative expression comes through cathartic art, in the idea that you really have your feelings and your experiences very much tied to how your creative perspective and lens is seen through, and is how you express yourself most. So I think that there's a lot of maybe pent up emotions that you're about to awaken and open into your reality in the form of creative magic as a way of catharsis. So with that in those insights, let's go ahead and pull you a couple more cards, because I feel like since this is a new type of reading, I can't help myself. I just want to talk and talk and talk about it. But let's keep moving forward. So let's pull you 2 cards here. We're going to look into the current situation, like if you have any creative blocks or anything like that coming through, and then how your creativity will be moving forward in the future. So group 3. Let's get a little insight here on that. Okay. So let's have a little look-see here. First off, oh my gosh, perfect card for this. We have the 6 of Cups. And what I love specifically about this 6 of Cups as well from this deck is the 6 of Cups talks about nostalgia and childhood and our inner child. And you can see this person sort of walking away. So this is like a figure in your life and that has sort of stomped on or put out your creative flame and has been stomping it out for so long, and you're starting to incubate and starting to awaken yourself to the creativity inside you by putting this stomping ground aside and letting the castles build, playing in the rainbows, allowing that inner child to really play, right? So your creativity can also just take the form of like literally creating with some crayons on some paper. It can be something as simple or as specific as you like. But then we also have here the devil showing up afterwards, and the devil really feels like breaking those chains of those people who have really kind of wronged you in sort of stuffing your creativity, saying it's unrealistic, putting your creativity down, and those narratives and scripts that maybe happened 15, 20 years ago, but are starting to be released now, and you're starting to break those chains and liberate yourself from those ideas and those scripts and those societal pressures and the expectations that have been put to be realistic, to think about realistic solutions, not creative solutions. Don't, allow that part of yourself to ever get to expand. And I think you're really expanding it right now, and you're going to continue to expand it. So this is a really good jumping off point for you guys to play around and explore your creativity that has been held back and chained back for far too long. So to look a little bit further, I'm going to pull 2 more cards and then some charms. But if you have enjoyed this reading so far, I really would appreciate, especially since this is a new kind of reading, your thoughts down below in the comments, but also by giving this video a like. So let's go ahead and look into those final cards here before the charms. any more information you need to know about the creative practice, the creative lens, the creative gifts that group 3 holds. So we're going to pull one more. Okay, let's have a little peek. So, I just had a feeling you guys are going to have this card pop up. I just had a feeling. So this is the dance, trust, body, and catharsis. So again, cathartic art, catharsis. There's this feeling that you guys might not be like doing dancing lessons or taking on something very specific when it comes to like certain dancing styles, but maybe just like literally dancing in your room at 1 a.m. and enjoying the catharsis that comes through letting your emotions flow through the creativity that comes through the art form of dancing and moving your body and the expression and flow that happens through that, and how much more you'll trust yourself and another when you maybe slowly allow them into that creative experience with you if you decide to have someone join you. Otherwise, it can be a solo thing. And then we also have the reader, interpretation, choice, and agency. The reader immediately makes me think too that you guys would be really good storytellers, right? Using your catharsis as a way of like using your experiences to write and compose stories, especially if you're a person who's been reading for a lot of your life and you've been always thinking about writing a book, writing a blog, even just writing an Instagram post is a way in which you could, use words as a form and a tool for your creativity to flow. So we also have that showing up here too. But I want to go ahead and pull those charms. So do feel free to send your energy in through time and space, and let's pull some charms for you, group 3. Okay, so gonna zoom you in and let's have a little look. Okay, so the things that I'm immediately drawn towards is the one that like got stuck to my finger here, and this is the expiration date charm. Like if you guys have ever seen those little bread clips, they have like the expiration date on them. So catharsis is giving me that same feeling, and what we kind of were getting before of this feeling that like your creativity expires at some point, like this childhood dream that maybe you had, or something that you even have been dreaming since beyond childhood, like young adulthood or teenhood, or whenever in your past. It really doesn't matter. Whatever this dream was, you feel like maybe it's hidden expiration date, it will never happen, or whatever it might be. But catharsis is telling you, and especially since you got the key to your heart showing up near it, and even the good luck charm, and the hearts just everywhere, it's really showcasing to me that this is definitely not an expired situation. If anything, you're just at the precipice of letting this creativity flow so much more and letting it to bloom and to awaken and to open and to explore it so much more deeply. So it is not over. If anything, you might find around by February 12th, as this says, this even showed up with group 1, but there's like almost a 2011 showing up here too. This feeling that like these dates just either are when this creativity is going to open, or is when you felt like it had closed in the past. But it is definitely not expired. You have the good luck charm of the 4-leaf clover showing up here. We have the heart of self-care showing up here. We have the key to your heart, so an opportunity that you open and awaken within you, showing up here as well with awaken the art witch and cathartic art. This is giving me chills, truly. And then you also have the grounding charm showing up here with the reader. So maybe you find a lot of your inspiration through reading or through written word. And then you also have the adjustable wrench showing up here by this inner child that may be you or someone else. That is showcasing that, maybe you had some ideas in the past or imaginations and dreams that maybe aren't going to fit into your current reality in the way that you have them. But because it's an adjustable wrench, it tells me too that you are allowed to adjust those from a childlike point of view and adjust them into your reality now. We have the hesitant charm showing up here with the bird and the castle. So it's kind of making me think of like a princess in a castle tower waiting to be rescued or waiting for this to come forth, but you have to be the one to open the door. That, you know, you have to be the one to save yourself here. And by save yourself, I mean like, you know, be the one to open the door, be the one to climb down the tower, be the one to take agency and choice into your own hands. And then over by dance and on this little rainbow here, by the incubate dreams with the like egg here, we have the spirit guide sort of charms. This makes me think of someone who's either crossed the veil or a spirit guide that you work with, a creative spirit guide even, deity, God, whoever you may feel is coming through. But this talks about someone working in the background to help make this happen for you. It makes me think of events that they sort of make sure happen and sort of in ways that you would just really not understand from your perspective, but just know that they're working behind the scenes to help you incubate these dreams into reality. But yeah, those are all the charms that I'm really seeing here. I'm going to go ahead and zoom you out, but I do hope that you enjoyed this more chaotic reading and this new kind of reading. I would love to hear your thoughts, like I said, down below, as well as give this video a like. And if you haven't already, do be sure to subscribe, as I want to play around even more with and push the kind of readings that I do, both as a reader and so that you guys can enjoy different kinds of content and readings for yourself. So I do want to continue doing my regular scheduled pick a cards, but I'm going to be playing around with some other kinds of videos too. So do subscribe to see what comes up next. And you're also welcome to support the channel by checking out the Kindred tip jar down below. Everything that goes in there goes right back into the channel for getting new decks like this Art Magic deck, as well as, you know, more typical things such as like camera supplies and other sort of supportive tools for the channel. So all of it goes right back into it. You're also welcome to support the channel and support yourself through the other offerings I have down below, such as the Mabon spell and ritual papers that I have out right now, where I hand make paper for your rituals and your spells. And I also have snail mail readings where I send a letter to you in the mail on everything that I get. It's usually 3 pages to 4 pages anymore long, all about a specific situation in which you'd like to look into more deeply. So with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and leave you here. Thank you so much for joining me here today and playing around with me with these new cards, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.